good, Humbl Fam? How about y'all come on in? Let's have us another little visit here on the Humbl Show. I am Grant Fletcher, joined by my two co-hosts, Moonbeam Hallows and Brandon Cox. Everybody, how do we feel?
Hey, I'm feeling pretty cool.
Yeah,
Feeling pretty good, cool myself.
I like it.
How are you, Grant?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I am
Feeling good?
doing really, really well. Hey, y'all, check this out. Okay. My daughter, who we've talked about before, who is 6 on this show.
Yeah.
I was putting her to bed the other night, and she says, Dad, last night when I was in bed, I felt like I was dropping. And I was like, oh, it started. Like, this is...
Oh,
like you're having like... Yeah. Like when you feel like you're like, you're having like actual human... whole human responses now to things that go on in your life.
Yeah.
I had it bad, like, because I had it from about the time that I was her age to like my mid-20s. That was like me every night. Now, I mean, it happens every now and then, but it's not the same for me though.
Yeah,
I had that a lot.
Yeah,
I had an issue as a kid that I have not been able to like relate to anybody on.
Okay.
I would have dreams in which I was getting like it felt like in the dream that I was getting profusely tickled. It wasn't even anybody in my dream tickling me, but like I would feel the sensation and it was bad. Like it was bad because I would wake up like hyperventilating. I'm really hoping that a stranger in the night was not coming in my room and doing the things that people shouldn't do.
Dang.
In either case, that went on until I was about, like,
you never heard about the Mississippi tickler? Who would just roam from neighborhood to neighborhood and sneak into windows and tickle sleeping. You never knew about that. Wow.
Yeah, well, it's probably because he's in prison now.
Picking at the locks.
But
A whole Wikipedia article on it.
That went on until I was about 4 or 5. It would be to the point to where every single night, like my parents would come in and we'd say our prayers, and I would always pray to God that I would not have tickly dreams that night.
Oh man. Oh gosh.
Oh.
Hey, Humbl Fam.
Yeah.
If any of you ever felt tickled in your dreams, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, you know what? That might be like a real phenomenon that we're like laughing about. You know, but it might be a real thing that we got people be worrying about out there. I don't know.
I would fall. Like you can tell MJ that I still fall on occasion.
When I told her that, I was like, yeah. I said that's normal. Like that happens to people. It's a thing.
Have we figured out like why that is, where that comes from?
I'm sure they have, but I'm not going to look it up because I want to keep the mystery alive.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
it's just you in a parallel universe falling off a cliff.
It's got to be it, right?
Yeah.
That sounds like science to me.
That's it. That's definitely science. Do you guys also have the where you lay a certain way at a certain time at night and you feel like you've got like a rain stick in your head?
No, I think you might have
like
an
like a rain stick noise.
I think you need to.
No,
I think you need to go see an ENT or something. I don't know.
No,
people are going to be listening to this episode and they're going to think that we're like starting like an ARG or something, or just like straight up making stuff up.
No. Greg, you know what I'm talking about, right? The rain stick noise.
Rain stick noise in your ear. No. Do you have beans in your ear? Did you somehow get beans in your ear? Is that what's going on?
Ear beans?
Look,
Dry beans.
Greg said he's got what's it called when you fall in your sleep?
It's called a hypnic jerk.
A hypnic
jerk.
Sounds like an awesome band name.
Yeah.
Does sound like
hey, Humbl Fam. Look, if you name your band Hypnic Jerk, please link all of your music videos and everything down below in the comments. I want to know.
Look, I just looked it up on Reddit. Does anybody else hear a fizzling rain stick sound in their neck and spine?
I think you got ghosts.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem.
You got ghosts in your bones.
Yeah.
Why does it sound like a rain stick in my neck?
You know,
somebody else needs to chime
someone else
in.
had this thing happen, and they asked the question. Still no answer. Look on Quora or whatever it is. Brandon, you mentioned parallel universes, which is like a big movie thing these days. And
yeah.
It's funny because we got some movie stuff to talk about this week because we just the company just announced a new guest for Preserve Halloween Fest coming up.
Well,
November
dang, let's
18th,
talk
19th.
about
Yeah.
it.
Should we talk about it? Have we talked about it? I guess we haven't talked about it amongst ourselves yet, but we got Andre. I almost said Andre. That's not a name. Andre Gower coming as well, who's from was the lead in. I guess you could say he was the lead in Monster Squad.
Monster Squad. He was the lead in Monster Squad,
which I am like so thrilled about because we had Tom Woodruff Jr. there last year, who was also he was the Gillman in Monster Squad, but I love Monster Squad so much.
I do too.
That was one of those VHS tapes that I just wore out when I was a kid, and
yes,
I
wore it out.
Like just oh man, it's like how like you had the cabinet of VHS tapes. For us it was like underneath the TV set, and you go through and you pick out whatever's in there. Monster Squad was on heavy rotation in my house for me, and
yeah.
It had been a while since I'd watched it, and last year I was like, I was about my daughter's age when I watched this movie for the first time, so I went back and watched it. And maybe not the best movie for a 5-year-old. There's some there's some name calling in there that's not on the level, I guess, with us in 2023. I'm saying maybe wait until they're like around like 10 when you can kind of better explain things to them. But otherwise, they use
a term for coitus in that movie, dorked.
Yeah.
Dork. What do you say? Have you ever
say wolf dork too? Right?
Nards. Wolfman's got nards.
Yeah. They do say that, and then they say also like Wolfman has to wear pants to hide his wolf dork. It was another.
Yeah.
Movie too. No, but yeah, you're right. There is like some other like terms in there where you have to, if you're not from that era, you got to use the context clues pretty heavily to be able to figure out what it is they're talking about.
Right.
But I mean, still fun movie to go back and watch. You know what was really funny though is when it was over, I asked her. I said, "Hey, what was your favorite part of the movie?" And she said, "When the bully had to eat the gross candy bar. That was her favorite part of the movie."
Man. Look, I love that movie. I really wish I could meet Tom Noonan.
Well, yeah.
He was
Frankenstein, right?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Tom Noonan.
Yeah.
I would love for you to figure out how to make him a guest.
Bogus.
Like, could you imagine this? It'd be like when it's Tom Noonan.
Not to spoil this 35, 40-year-old movie, but I feel like they did my boy Frankenstein dirty in that movie.
You think so?
Not to give anything away, but I didn't like how
give it away.
I didn't like how his character ended up.
No, I don't either.
Thing how he wound up going in the portal, but he had to go with the rest of them.
But he caught the dog Scraps.
He did.
Yeah, true.
He did.
That was really sad. I cried a lot. I cried big.
They had to have that emotional ending. I think it really was pretty emotional. So
it was good.
It's a good movie. Just go back and watch it again. It's fun.
It's good.
If you've seen it, then great. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. It's awesome. And you know what's funny about that? We've talked about this, you and me, Moonbeam, before, is that movie actually supposedly takes place in Baton Rouge, where I'm from.
Whoa!
And it's not mentioned in the script. It's not mentioned anywhere else, but like somehow it wound up in the Wikipedia article that it takes place in Baton Rouge, which was weird. So like a few years ago, I was like, how else would you find out whether or not this is true? Well, Shane Black co-wrote the movie, who, he directed Iron Man 3 and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and whatever else. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to tweet at Shane Black and be like, hey, does Monster Squad take place in Baton Rouge? And a few hours later, he responded and he said, yeah, it takes place in Baton Rouge. And I was like, oh,
was it filmed in Baton Rouge?
I doubt it. I don't think so. I mean, that would have come out, whenever I was a baby, but still, It doesn't look like. I mean, honestly, there's a swamp scene in the beginning, and I think that's like the only thing that connects it somewhat to Baton Rouge, maybe kind of, because there's like a swamp like not far from where I live. But that's really about it. I'm guessing that's the only reason why they connected it to,
Yeah, they were like, where could we find a swamp in the United States?
They were like, we need a city, but not a big city, but not a small town, like a too small of a town either. But also, we need a swamp.
Be big enough for a drive-in theater, and you can see.
I'm imagining that there's a deleted
you can see from a neighborhood.
I imagine that there's a deleted scene with that one guy from Joe Dirt saying "Home is where you make it," and that was going to prove. For the 5 people out there who've seen Joe Dirt,
the 5 people, that movie was a freaking blockbuster. Really well back then.
Like Joe Dirt is iconic for anybody who just kept Comedy Central on like 24/7 in their home in the early 2000s. Otherwise, I imagine that a lot of those films are going to like lose their popularity over the years. Like, I imagine that most kids these days have not seen Office Space, and they're never going to.
Yeah,
I imagine.
Funny.
Like, was it Brewster's Millions with
Richard Pryor?
Richard Pryor. Like, no kids these days are watching Brewster's Millions. They're all watching media with tons of lore. And so they can talk about it on Twitter.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. I will in a few years when my daughter's a little bit over, I am going to show her Young Frankenstein because I do think that one's still funny. I do think that still holds up, regardless of
hell yeah, it's good.
When you saw it, where it we're talking about Halloween movies and whatnot.
Has she seen Spaceballs?
She actually has seen Spaceballs. She hasn't. I don't think she actually sat down and watched it all the way through.
Yeah,
I think it was a little not cartoony enough at the time whenever we watched it, but she probably would watch it now.
Sure. Yeah.
But I speaking of movies and things you watched as a kid, and this is a conversation that I've had even online before. But I want to know between the two of you, like, what was that movie scene when you were a kid that just freaked you all the way out?
I got it.
So even as like a younger person, and like my parents did pretty well at like shielding me from anything that was just absurdly, or they basically screened everything that I watched.
Okay.
But like I remember even like the pretty gnarly stuff, like the Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. It was very tongue in cheek, very stylized, but my God, the decapitation scenes in that movie, and like the inspection on the neck stumps, like it's all so gratuitous. But I even remember like at the time, I'm like, I'm a big boy, I can handle this. Like, no joke, and I feel like this is a very common contrived mention, but like the cursed video from The Ring made me pee myself several times. Not literally, but a little bit literally. Just a little fraidy pee. Just the surreal nature of it all, and just how unnerving that the entire film, say what you will about anything else, but like just their overall aesthetic of the film that really encapsulates how just horrifying the Pacific Northwest can be.
Like you said before, just dreary and gloomy and spooky. Yeah. We just watched Sleepy Hollow like last weekend, I think. And it's still good, but you're right. Like, he's inspecting the body, and he lifts up like a little flap of skin, and a bug falls out. And and there's some intense scenes.
So gnarly.
Yeah,
and then like there's the heads in the trees, and they somehow move around and make vomiting noises whenever they move around.
Yeah,
like and like those heads, they're all wet and decapitated and moving around.
It's probably the most like visually grotesque of all the Burton-y media out there, I guess. I mean, unless you can think of another one, but I really can't, not off the top of my head. No,
I don't think he ever went that hard again or prior to that.
No, I don't think so.
What about you, Moonbeam? What springs to mind for you?
Yeah. Okay. So Zelda from Pet Sematary, the sister.
Oh yeah.
With spinal meningitis, when she's just like Rachel, and just like like hopping her, like she just like shows up here and then she's like over here, and I just can't. I'd have to turn my head on that scene, and I watched that movie a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah,
because I loved horror movies, I always have. But yeah, I just that whole thing with her,
it's real gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pet Sematary is another one I was thinking the other day, because they had a new one come out, and I was like, you know what? That just makes me want to go back and watch the original, honestly, so I think I'm going to do that.
Oh, isn't there a series out?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a series. I saw it on one of the streamers or something like that.
The only reason...
Bloodlines.
The only reason why I know that there is a series is because I got like a promotional survey that if I took it, I got 50 cents in this survey app that I have.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, have you heard that Paramount Plus is doing Pet Sematary? I'm like, no, like I really don't. I did not know that they were doing another reboot of another.
Your marketing
series.
is bad, and you should feel bad about it. Actually, that's what I'm here to tell you in this survey.
You said you told them that you hadn't seen it, and they sent you 50 cents.
Yeah, it was like, hey, have you? It was like the first question was like, have you heard about it? I'm like, no, I haven't. The next question was like, hey, out of this to this, what would you rate this series? I'm like, I haven't seen it. What did you tell your friends and family about the Pet Sematary? Blah blah blah. No, I haven't heard about it. And there was a fourth question. This survey took me like a minute, and they're like, hey, here's 50 cents. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Man, 50 cents a minute. That adds up.
Yeah.
My my movie scene is actually kind of linked to yours, Brandon, in a way.
Ooh.
Because my scene was not from a horror movie or spooky movie, but a Burton-y movie nonetheless.
Yeah.
From Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I watched Pee-wee's Big Adventure so damn many times whenever I was a kid.
Yeah.
Over and over again. My parents would it would end, and then my parents would have to hit rewind and hit play again, and that was a lot, like from 3 to 4. That was my childhood. But
let me guess.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead and guess. Yeah, Large Marge. That's what it was, man.
Oh,
Pee-wee's
baby.
in the truck, and Large Marge goes into the tail. And then she does the whole driver look like this, and the face goes crazy. That freaked me out so much. And it was one of those scenes where I was like, as a child, I was like, I'm going to look away. I'm going to look away. I'm going to look away. And I just like, for whatever reason, my like eyes were like glued to the screen. And I never could, just out of horror, even look away from that scene.
Yeah.
But what's funny, Brandon, is that I noticed in Sleepy Hollow, whenever, spoiler alert here, when the horseman gets his head back and all the muscle and skin is regrowing, there's a point in which he turns and he makes the face that Large Marge made, and his eyes bulge out and everything goes crazy.
Are you serious?
Like an homage to that scene. Yeah, and I never even caught that before until that rewatch we just had like a week or two ago.
Oh, man, I got to go back and see that then.
Did you notice in Beetlejuice where he's like, he's turned his backs to the camera, but like his face blows out? So it's kind of the same too.
Kind of the same thing, yeah. Like basically the same gag. It's like a repeating, like some kind of weird.
That's the kind of stuff that makes him an auteur.
That's true.
Oh yes,
that's true. And then in Batman Returns, whenever he no, I'm kidding. There was no. I will say Batman Returns has probably my favorite line in a Batman movie when Christopher Walken goes, "Bruce Wayne, what are you doing dressed up as Batman?" I think that's my favorite single line from any Batman movie.
Dude, I'm gonna go do Batman stuff. Shoot. Let me say one thing. And I guess we got to move on. Like, there's all these like YouTube compilations, and I'm sure like Buzzfeed articles. It's like, oh, the craziest stuff that happened in kids' movies, and oh my gosh, it made us crazy. It scared the heck out of us. I as a child was not scared of literally anything that appeared. Like, I think like the one iconic thing is like, oh, that one scene from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I saw that as a kid, like, huh, That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that was the extent of things.
The boat
scene where the boat ride. Yeah, where he gets you know what? I've heard people say that before, and that was another movie I watched a lot as a kid, and I never got that from that scene. Like I thought it was weird, don't get me wrong, but it never freaked me out like it did a lot of people. I don't know why.
Yeah. And then of course, like they always sneak in films that are not kids films on those lists. Like, oh man, remember whenever you were a kid watching Watership Down?
No.
I'm like, no.
Like it's like I will give you it's a cartoon, but it's not a kids movie.
No. And like
it's in the kids section of the I don't know about you guys, but it was in the kids section of our
it probably was. It probably was, because again, they're like, it's a cartoon, it's a kids movie.
Yeah.
We'll put it right next to Heavy Metal.
And Grave of the Fireflies.
Oh God.
God, dude. Let's not like we
kids
talked
like
about
World
that
War II?
A little bit with Emily Neves at the last My Hero Con over in Florida, and I was like, man, that is not for the emotionally frail. If you're thinking you're feeling kind of like, if you're feeling fragile that day or that weekend or whatever, like, don't watch Grave of the Fireflies. It is a heavy movie, man.
Sometimes when I feel like Lola May's getting too excited about something, I'll go Saita Setsuko.
Yeah.
And she calms right down.
We put on the ending of Old Yeller and it really brings her down. You know, you can't.
Remember when they were eating those rice balls, but they weren't rice balls?
I can't have you having all this energy, kid. I gotta bum you out real quick.
So freaking sad. I shouldn't have told Lola May. She was really young. Well, I mean, she was probably in 5th grade when she watched that. I was like, you need to watch Grave of the Fireflies, but it's real sad. She's like, don't watch anything.
I got this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's rough. It's a rough one. Thanks for bringing it up, bringing us all down.
Yeah, you got it.
That's a service that Brandon provides.
Honestly, and Moon can attest to this. Yes, that is what I do. That is what I have always done. We don't have to go too into this, but for my 18th birthday, I was like, hey, let's watch Paris, Texas, which that alone is a very gorgeous but a very emotionally heavy movie that I wanted to watch on my 18th birthday. And this was back whenever we were still doing, the nation was doing mail-in Netflix DVDs. And unfortunately, that film was all rented out. So I was like, okay, next best thing, Requiem for a Dream.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
So we had to put paper up in the windows at the grindhouse just in case somebody drove
someone came by and saw it.
Saw the
scene at the end.
The rear to rear.
Yeah, that's what they called it.
Yes.
Wait, Paris, Texas. So Harry Dean Stanton is the lead in Paris, Texas?
Yes, he is.
I didn't know Harry Dean Stanton was allowed to be the lead in anything. I mean,
oh my God, you shut your mouth.
So a few weeks ago, we actually watched.
I'm not knocking it at all, but he just appeared in like these weird bit parts in so many things, you know.
Man, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's amazing. And like for the first 20, 30 minutes or so, he does not have any lines, but his acting is just so good.
We're big fans. We watched Lucky a couple weeks ago.
We watched his last film before he passed, and it is basically just Harry Dean Stanton being himself, and it's amazing.
We could have watched about 30 hours of it.
Yeah,
it was just good.
Harry Dean Stanton was in an episode of Doug Loves Movies, the movie trivia podcast. I like.
Oh wow!
And they played a game at the end where they have a game that he plays where he's kind of Doug Benson has changed the name a bunch of times, but they'll pick an actor. And they all just have to take turns naming a movie that actor was in until like you don't have one and you can't think of one and then you drop out. So they just picked Harry Dean Stanton while he was there. And he had a hard time. He was like, do you know how many movies I've been in? And they were like, we know. well over 200, I think.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot. And look, I got some movie trivia for us here too, if y'all want to try it. If you want to give it a go.
Yeah,
I mean if y'all are feeling up to it, I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know.
Before we do that, hey everybody, we got a show happening in November.
Yeah, yeah. Preserve Halloween.
If you don't already know,
we need to get Grizz on here to talk about Preserve Halloween. You want to do that next week? We want to do that next week.
Yeah. Greg, y'all sit down together. We'll do a little thing. And Greg can also get us prepped for Kayfabe Fest and tell us that story we were talking about on the last episode too about WCW World Heavyweight Championship belts. That's a good one. Man, Doug Jones I'm excited about working with again, and Andre Gower. That's gonna be dope. The Count's coming about. Count Gore Duvall.
Oh yeah.
Anderson Silva
Mash with us.
Green Devil artwork.
Green Devil artwork. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's gonna be rad. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's just a good show. Like I can't. And when I was doing this thing at the Alamo Draft House the night before, it's just gonna be cool. I can't we can't understate how cool it's gonna be.
Yeah.
You can't overstate, excuse me. You can understate it all you want, but you can't overstate it.
Yeah.
Well, check this out. So,
all right,
I got a game here. Y'all just shout out your answers as you think you have them. Okay.
Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton. Well, that's a good guess. Before we get into it, it's just called Witchy Movie Lines. And I'm going to read a line from a movie, and you just shout out what you think the name of that movie is, and that's it. Simple enough, right?
You got it.
So, the first one here is, do not cite the deep magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written.
Oh.
What movie?
King Arthur?
Not King Arthur. Do not cite the deep magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written. That one got memed a good bit a few years ago.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
I don't know.
That is The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Okay.
Well, look.
Yeah.
You're
not up on your C.S. Lewis?
I like C.S. Lewis books that nobody gives a crap about, like
the
Screw Tape Letters.
Yeah.
I like The Magician's Nephew.
Yeah.
I like Screw Tape Letters. I like Mere Christianity and Four Loves and all the other books that nobody crap.
Not the ones with the lion. That we only like the lion. All right, look, let's try this one. First one to yell it out. We are the weirdos, mister.
The Craft.
That is 1 point for Moonbeam there.
Hey.
The Craft. I knew someone would know it. Okay, let's try this one. We'll grow... And that's it. What do y'all think?
That was pretty good.
We'll grow old together. It's going to be you and me living in a big house. These two old biddies with all these cats. I bet we even die on the same day.
When Harry Met Sally.
That sounds right, doesn't it?
Yeah. Let's see.
Bet we even die on the same day.
I feel like I know this one, but I don't know.
Witchy Movie Lines.
Yeah.
Is the round.
Oh. Greg guessed.
I didn't hear what he said.
He said Practical Magic.
It is Practical Magic.
I have never heard of Practical Magic. Who's in this movie?
Sandy B's in it.
Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman.
It's good. We watched it recently and
all over my face.
as part of our Halloween, movie watch, whatever. And honestly, it's not really a Halloween movie. I don't think. I mean, it's about witches, but it's not. I don't know. It's got some points in it, but it's still fun. It's a fun movie.
Oh, speaking of fun Halloween movie, I watched one tonight. Ugh.
Lee just texted me about that movie right now.
Oh my God.
What was it?
I feel dirty. It's called Talk to Me. Yeah. It's
And did it talk to you? Spooky?
Whew.
Made your skin crawl?
I hope it don't.
It is a movie.
Skin crawls parts were hard to watch.
Oh.
It is a movie made by YouTube, which, by the way, I hadn't seen it, so I can't say this personally, but it's a movie made by YouTubers that doesn't suck.
Okay.
It's really good. It's good.
I'm going to have to watch it.
Got some scenes that are woo.
I'm going to check it out now.
That
sounds dope. Okay, I got another one here for you. Poor unfortunate souls. In pain.
Little Mermaid.
It is. Yes, it is The Little Mermaid.
What the heck?
That's so.
Yeah, that's the name of the song.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie since I was 2.
Look, we've Moonbeam, you've got the whole thing locked up here. I only have one left, and it was for the tiebreaker, but we're gonna go ahead and lob it up here anyway, just so we can play it, right? Why not?
Better be a line from the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah. All right, here we go. I live my life a quarter mile at a time. No, I'm kidding. All you lucky kids with your silver shamrock masks, gather
Halloween
around.
3.
I knew you would both know it. It was just a matter of who. That's why I made it the tiebreaker. It was just a matter of who said it the fastest.
Yeah.
Gather around your TV set. What's funny is, so I played this round at my weekly trivia night last night, and I wanted to do it here. I changed some of them and, cut them down or whatever.
Just in case anybody was there.
But that was one of the ones that I used. It said, gather around your TV set. And I heard a table of like some, college age kids go, okay, whatever this is, it's got to be an old one because no one says TV set anymore.
Oh.
And I was like, you're right. It is an old one because, and no one says TV set anymore. It's true. So
tune the rabbit ears.
That was it. That was the end of it, y'all. Look, listen, check this out, everybody. Check it out, Humbl3 Fam.
Yeah.
First off, I want to know, what was that movie scene that just freaked you out whenever you were a kid? Like, drop that in the comments below. Let us know over on Instagram or on Threads. I want to know what it was so we can talk about some of these a little bit more in detail next week on the next show. But we got this awesome convention coming up in a little bit, about a month, actually, right as this drops, right about a month. So November 18th and 19th, it's in Irving, Texas, right outside of Dallas. So it's going to be a cool time. Irving Convention Center. Reserve Halloween Fest. It's awesome. The vendors are amazing every year. The guests are amazing every year. We got some heavy hitters in the world of just creepiness and horror movies, and man, it's gonna be such a good time.
We're gonna have a little karaoke on Saturday night.
A little karaoke Saturday night, which is something that's tradition.
Yeah,
that is preserved.
We're not going to be doing it at the Westin this year. We normally do it at the Westin. No, we're going to do it at the venue.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
So.
Okay. I like that.
Just stick around. It'll be fun.
And then the screening of a movie that we have not yet announced, but it's going to be happening with an actor and the director of the movie in the house as well. Going to be there at the Alamo Drafthouse the night before, which is going to be so cool, man. I can't wait till we get there. Can't wait to see y'all there. Can't wait to see you all back here next week on the Humbl Show. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss that episode, everybody. But until we come back, y'all, stay humble.